Mishnah Gimel. Mishnah Gimel is going to talk about a new concept. And we talked a little bit about this new concept. Up to now we talked about tools. The tools are muktzeh. What about coarse material? A 2x4. Now, are you allowed to go and use a stick or this on Shabbat for a purpose? For example, for the purpose of Shabbos, that's right. Will you be allowed to use it? For example, I have a stick and I don't have a spoon. I want to take a stick from outside, go outside, take the stick, and go like this, mix something, I don't know. With the stick, am I allowed to? Or should I take a hammer and do it with the hammer? Which one? So, raw material is going to be more muktzeh than... So one has to be careful. Yeah. So let's see. What about kaneh shel zeitim? A stick for olives. An olive stick. Right? רגילים היו לצבור את הזיתים במעתן. They used to put the olives in ma'atan. What's ma'atan? You put it in a big barrel, and you put all your olives inside this big barrel. And slowly the weight, and slowly the oil comes out of them. Slowly. שהוא כלי המיוחד לזיתים. It's a barrel specifically for olives. Why? כדי שיתחממו ויתרככו. You keep them for a long time, they become soft, become ripe. ולאחר זמן היו מהפכים אותם בקנה העשוי לכך. And after, like every 2 weeks, whatever it is, you turn them over, you mix them. והיו בודקים על ידי השמומנית שנדבקה בקנה אם נגמר ריכוכם. And then you will touch the stick and you will see if it's oily enough, if they're ready. והם רואים לייצר בית הבטן. Only then you will take them to make olives out of them, when they become very soft. ובא המשנה ללמדנו דינו של אותו קנה לעניין טומאה ולעניין טיטולו בשבת. So, by the way, there's going to be relevance over here. And we talked about it before. If it's מקבל טומאה, if the stick will be מקבל טומאה, then it's a kli, then it's a vessel. If it's not מקבל טומאה, it's not a vessel. So now you have a stick over here for the olives. It's like any other stick. The question is this stick מקבל טומאה? Does it receive impurity?
But they don't tell you what it's made from.
What it looks like, I can tell you a little bit like it. It looks like a bamboo.
Oh.
They used to like a bamboo stick.
It's a wood.
It's like, it's like a bamboo stick. Yeah. But there's going to be a difference. Let's see. אם יש קשר בראשו, if there is a knot in its head, כאין פקק של קנה, like a lid of on a stick. ויש מפרשים כאין עיגול. There are those who explain it's like a rounded thing, או כאין כפתור, or it's like a thing in the top. What do you mean? שבשעה שמהפכים בקנה את הזיתים שבמעצם ומוציאים אותו, נשאר על הקשר שבראשו קצת שמן. In other words, there's a little bit of בית קיבול. How do you call it? There's a little bit of what's the name for it? A vessel. It's a little bit of a vessel, it stays in it. ונוח לבדוק בו את הזיתים. In other words, it collects a little bit of oil inside. There's a collection cup, let's call it. ראויה לבית הבד, הרי הקנה מקבל טומאה. Then it's not a regular stick, it becomes a tool. It has a tool. In other words, you have a little bit in it to show that it's not a regular stick. It has to show that it's not a regular stick. שהואיל והקשר הוא כאין בית קיבול, that nut that you have in the top, it's just like a cup, a small cup, הקנה נחשב כלי. Then the stick is considered to be a כלי. And then, if it's a kli, it's kli shel machtol היתר even, or לאיסור, whatever you want to call it, but I'm allowed to use it for the purposes. But otherwise, I'm not allowed to use it for something else.
Because it's not a kli?
Because it's not a kli, and it's raw material, and that's it. It's just a kaneh.
In other words, if I just go walk and take a stick
not allowed to.
next to it and wants to mix my soup?
Not allowed to. Only if it has a beit kibul, you're allowed to take this spoon, this there, and then mix it.
A stick is a stick.
Because we said, if you remember, the logic behind it, think about all muktzah. Let's start in the beginning. Maybe it's going to get to later on. I'll talk about it now. We tend to think that touching a vessel on Shabbat is permissible. Some vessels are permissible, some vessels no. It doesn't work like this.
If you don't need it, it's not permissible.
No, it's not. All vessels, everything,
not permissible.
they tell you don't touch it. You want to touch something, you need to have
A use for it.
And not only that,
For Shabbos.
Shabbos is.
Not just
In other words, the rabbis want you to keep in mind all the time. Whatever you touch, this is Shabbos, are you allowed to touch it? Everything. So you'll have to make the calculation. So they tell you, if it's not a vessel, if it's not a kli, if it's a kli, somewhere in your mind, if I will ask you, there's a subconscious that I might be able to use it on Shabbat. It's a tool. So I might find a purpose of Shabbat. But things that are not a tool even, it's completely out of your mind to be used on Shabbat, even subconsciously. So they tell you, don't even touch it. That you're not allowed to touch at all. That's the idea behind it. Think it about this way. Ve'im lav, and if not, she'en kesher berosho, which means it doesn't have any kind of container in it, en mekabel tuma, it doesn't receive impurity, shedino kepshutei klei etz, she'ena mekablim tuma, it's just like a 2x4 or like a stick, doesn't receive impurity. In other words, the question is like this: are you allowed to use it as chach? If you're allowed to use it as chach, you're not allowed to touch it. If you're not allowed to use it for schach because it's like a stick or it has some other use, then you are allowed to touch it because it's a tool. בין כך ובין כך, בין שיש קשר בראשו ובין שאין קשר בראשו, ניטל בשבת. So now the question is like this. If the stick, this is an interesting part, if the stick was in the garden, exactly the same stick that now is in the olives, you wouldn't be allowed to touch it.
You would not.
Not be allowed to touch it. But because you used it as a tool, this stick now, it's already been used at least once as a tool, you made it into a tool even though what? It doesn't have a bet kibul.
Why?
Because you made it into a tool.
Well, it's enough that you steal with it, you don't have
Yeah, not on Shabbat. You would have to do the steering on a whole day.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you already did it and you kept it in there, you're showing that this stick is not a stick.
There.
It belongs over there. That's right. So it's
So this stick you can use, but just a regular.
Exactly the same stick. That's right. Exactly the same stick you would not be able to use. But this stick.
One you turn to a tool.
That's right.
This is a tool and have a different din.
For Tuma, there's going to be a difference. But for here.
But this is for Muktzah.
Yeah. ניטל בשבת, שהרי כלי הוא להפוך את הזיתים, because you made it into a vessel already, to turn the olives. הילקח מותר לטלטלו בשבת, therefore you're allowed to move it on Shabbat, לצורך גופו או לצורך מקומו. If you have another use for it, or you need its place, you're allowed to move it. ברם, דבר שאינו כלי, but the same stick that's outside, but you didn't make a vessel, אסור לטלטלו, you're not allowed to move it at all. כמו שביארנו לעיל בהקדמה למשנה. It becomes complicated, huh? Let's do